Good morning. Rise in freedom. Happy Friday. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show where the 80s are still alive, baby. Yes. It's a beautiful Friday morning. We're glad and thankful to have you here. Yeah, the 80s are still alive here, but in 6 years, the 80s will have been 50 years ago. That's why old guys like me get us some young, smoking hot, redheaded libertarian wifeys who are younger than us. Joining us live in studio, the lovely Stephanie Peterson.
Hello, I'm an 80s girl myself, 1988.
1988, yes.
That's right.
On the tail end.
Yeah.
You caught it at the very end.
So I enjoyed a lot of the 90s, like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC.
Mm-hmm.
So that's probably more my music that I know.
Yes. Well, the whole synthwave theme of the Wake Up America show, comes from the 1980s. And some of it in the early 90s as well. But we're glad to have you here, Stephanie.
I'm glad to be here. Hazel's already been moving this morning. My doctor told me I need to watch for her moving twice a day. So we already got the 5 kicks this morning, so we're good.
Glad to hear it. Her upcoming birth very soon. We're in the 3rd trimester.
It's coming fast. It's crazy.
Quantum Kitty says her birthday was just a couple of days ago, and she's feeling well-aged. Well, happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Quantum. I won't ask how old you are. I know that's disrespectful.
Glad to have you here.
Can a woman ask another woman how old she is?
No.
Or is it just a man can't ask a woman how old she is?
No one can ask. It's no one ever. Good morning, everyone. It's the Wake Up America show. Freedom Family Friday means that not only is my lovely wife, Stephanie, joining us live in studio, but we're also going to have my brother, Justin, joining us at 8 a.m.
Yeah. It's fun.
It is fun. However, we do have a little bit of bad news. Thank you to Brock Van Wagner, who super chatted $20 already.
Yes. Know that name?
He's over on YouTube.
Hungry.
Yes, our YouTubers have actually started to pick up lately. It's nice to see you guys.
I popped into YouTube the other day to say hi.
We also have to say thank you to Levin214. He already donated $10. Thank you, guys.
He did. You're getting that rant party started already for our doc.
Well, they have to because the show is going to end early today.
Goodness.
Unfortunately, they need the studio at 9 a.m. So that means that if you want to see the Wake Up America show bonus content, get those Rumble Rants and purchases early so you can see the bonus content before we go today, because we've got to end the show at 8:30 a.m. Central Time. So only an hour and a half.
Maybe we can speed it up 1.5 times so we can still get the same amount of information, but just talk really, really fast throughout the entire show.
We'll do our best. Thanks, everybody who's tuning in live with us today. Don't forget to click like and follow. Since we've got so much content to get through, why don't we go ahead and just get straight to it here, what we're going to talk about today. Vivek Ramaswamy, Republican, to speak at the Libertarian National Convention.
I'll talk.
You've got a lot to say. We'll talk about that in just a couple of minutes. And we're also going to talk about this article that we saw in the New York Post, how to tell if she's a psychopath.
I like this one.
We're going to talk about signs that you can look for if you're trying to find out if a woman is a psychopath. Yes.
Do you think I'm a psychopath? I guess we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then I want you to answer the question that I was talking about with Camellia yesterday. Would you take a bullet for somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the question was, should men take a bullet for the woman? And you're like, well, you said what you said.
I know, I was writing in the chat, so people may or may not have noticed.
They may not know, but I want to hear. I want you to kind of say what you said out loud, right? Trumplican 6901. I think it's the first time we've seen him in the chat.
Yeah, there's this new name.
I love seeing it. It's nice to meet you. We also have Feklar from the People's Republic of Maine.
What?
Yes. Run by Trump 2024. Good morning, Feklar. Yes.
Good morning. We've got some Trump fans in the audience.
We've got some new names and faces, as well as Doug's sports card, who has asked, how did I book Lois Griffin for the show?
Who's that? Lois Griffin. That was from a 1980s show, isn't it?
No, it was from, it's almost that old. Family Guy, Peter Griffin's wife, Lois.
Okay, I never really watched Family Guy much.
Peter, you kind of sound like Lois Griffin a little bit.
Oh, he's comparing me to Lois. I get the joke. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a Michigan accent.
Yes, we're glad to have all of our friends joining us live. If you're part of our new, if you're part of the new crew, we'd be glad to have you join us regularly. Do us a favor and click that follow button on the feed so you can find us again. So, all right, so we're going to talk about those topics, and then Justin will join us at 8:00 to talk about, clap your hands if you believe. Clap your hands if you believe. Another thing that you're not going to get.
No, I feel so lost right now.
Peter Pan the musical. So in Peter Pan the musical, Tinkerbell, I think, dies, or she's like dying.
She died?
Well, she's like dying in the musical. But did you ever see Hook? The movie Hook?
I did see it when I was very young.
When Julia Roberts played Tinkerbell in it, she played the fairy.
Oh, so I honestly don't remember.
If a fairy is dying, you can bring it back to life by clapping your hands.
Really?
Right? Yes.
We need to watch Hook over the weekend.
Well, we're going to have to clap our hands today at 8 a.m. to bring Tinkerbell back to life because she is canceled.
No, God!
I mean, she's the least controversial character I know.
Yeah. Well,
super cute.
she actually is. Well, no, she is problematic. First of all, I think that the real problem that they have with Tinkerbell is that she's too attractive.
Right. She's wearing her cute little tights and her little leotard.
She's got that short skirt. It's nice and tight.
Oh,
she's curvy, right?
Oh.
She's got it going on in all the right places.
That's right.
She's blonde. She's white. So that's another big problem, right? Can't have that.
Yeah.
And so Tinkerbell is canceled, but those aren't the reasons that Disney says that they're not canceling her, but they've removed her from meet and greets because she's problematic. Tinkerbell has been deemed problematic.
Oh my
and my brother, I won't go so far as to call Justin, my brother, a Disney adult. He was a Disney child, and some Disney children can grow up to be gay Republicans, like my brother.
He worked at Disney too.
He did
for a time.
So we'll talk about why Tinkerbell has been removed from certain meet and greets at Disney and why Disney has deemed her to be problematic. So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll have him at 8. And then FYI, we do end the show early today. So please don't be mad at us.
8:30.
At 8:30. So just let everybody know that the show's over at 8:30 today because they need the studio and we got to do what we got to do. Nice to see all the new names and faces there. We're glad to have all of our friends who are regular guests as well. And thank you to all of our friends who are joining us everywhere else.
So because we have all these new people, we might need to explain how this doc thing works.
Yeah, explain it to them as briefly as you can, Steph.
Okay. So every day we show a super secret surprise doc.
Mini documentary.
Mini doc. And so the doc for today is about a libertarian video game, right?
Right.
Yes. So we don't know what video game it's about, but it's a really entertaining doc.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order to unlock it and watch it during this show today, you have to raise $60 as a collective audience. And so that can come in the form of rants. That can come from wakeupamericashow.com/support, where you donate money. Or you could go to ap4libertyshop.com and you can shop on our page and buy things, and that goes towards the $60 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to raise $60 by 8:30. And if we don't, then the doc is lost forever and we never get to see it. And all of Austin's hard work is just going to be wasted.
Okay.
And I'm going to be sad.
You've got it. All right. So
Okay.
So to get those in early because we got to end the show early today. Thanks so much for tuning into the show.
I'm just really passionate.
Let's get to the news story. Let's go ahead and hit the top headline today, which is that Vivek Ramaswamy will speak at the Libertarian Party's National Convention in 2 weeks in Washington, D.C. He's also going to debate one of the party's vice presidential candidates, which is kind of weird.
This is so confusing to me. How many clowns can get out of a car at this point?
Angela McArdle, who we had on the show last week and caused a huge controversy when she came on the show and said something nice about Trump. Because he's going to speak at the convention as well.
Right.
She said to Breitbart News that this is an incredible opportunity for us. I happen to agree. From my perspective as the chair of the LP, I'm getting my candidate into a debate with the candidate who performed by far the best in the GOP primary debates and who is most closely aligned with libertarian values. It's an incredible opportunity for us. So the convention goes from March 23rd to 26th. The debate will happen on Friday evening, May 24th. And then whoever is declared the winner of the VP will advance to the debate with Vivek Ramaswamy. So
That's funny. Just the other day, I was saying to you, I feel like Vivek fell off the face of the earth.
Well, he's still got his following, but it's not obviously. I mean, as somebody who ran for president, I can tell you that like it's you'll never be have as much attention or scrutiny as when your name is on the ballot for the top
I know.
office. It's just what
It
it
happened
is.
for you even after you ran for U.S. Senate.
Oh yeah, for sure. Angela McCardle went on and said, "People see us as potentially the most powerful voting bloc in the country,
Yes.
and they know that it's
Yes.
important to appeal to our base of voters." She says, "From my perspective, it's important for me to move the Overton window in the direction of liberty. So this is the best opportunity that we have had. We'll see what kind of impact it has. I'm excited."
That's where that quote, it actually gave me hope because I've checked out of the LP. I quit them in 2018. But I do agree with continuing to push the idea of liberty in any way you can, in any party that you can, Republican, Democrat. So I think she's onto the right idea here. And that's actually shocking to me. I didn't know libertarians are finally agreeing to just try to further liberty in any way they can.
Mhm.
Because before they were just like, LP, LP, if you're not in the LP, then you suck. You're not a real libertarian. But I feel like they're starting to open their mind.
Mhm.
And this is a good sign to me.
Maybe. But here's the thing, too, is that when you look at the vote totals, so in the battleground states, and I wrote this piece on Friday where I went through AMP America. Let me go ahead and pull it up. AMP America. This is Trump. Can Trump actually appeal to libertarian voters? So I wrote this last Friday. Here's the vote total, and these are in the battleground states that the LP got in 2020. So in the last presidential election, Joe Jorgensen received in Georgia 1.2% of the total votes in the state. Now, in Georgia, that's a key state that absolutely could potentially tip the balance one way or another. But Trump would have to get, or Biden would have to get, all of those voters, in theory, or a really significant percentage of those voters, which is 62,229 votes, in order to tip the balance, right? But typically, libertarians, if they vote for major party candidates, they tend to split evenly both ways. They tend to.
Oh, some go to Democrat. Libertarians that like Bernie Sanders.
Yes, exactly. So you can't. The thing is that there are right-leaning libertarians and there are left-leaning libertarians.
Of them like RFK Jr.
Yes,
now.
For sure. If you believe in the Libertarian Party and you want him to come back to life, clap your hands. Says Joni Rankin over in the chat. Clap your hands for Tinkerbell.
This is a very risky move by the LP because they may lose some people.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a good move from them from a media perspective. It's a bad move from them electorally. However, I think that the media matters more at this point because I think they were going to get destroyed this year anyway. I actually think that they were going to get fewer votes this year than they did last time. Let me just real quick break this down. So for the rest of the battleground states, now I know it sucks, but in most states your vote really is going to matter this year.
It is, or it's not going to matter? Really?
It used to be there were 13 battleground states. Now there are only 7.
Oh, my.
So,
and is Missouri one of them?
No. Missouri's going to go for Trump.
Darn.
Pennsylvania, Joe Jorgensen got 1.15%. Arizona, 1.5%. Michigan, 1.1%. North Carolina, 1.1%. Wisconsin, 1.1%. So those are the numbers for the battleground states. So, in theory, if you got all of those voters, then you would probably stand a chance to tip the balance because in those states, those are very significant numbers because especially in Georgia, it can be like 1% is the difference. So it can matter. So it's important for Trump. It's important for the Republicans to do this. I don't know that it matters too much for RFK. It would probably matter for Biden, but there are libertarians who voted for Biden, but they're mostly like the type of libertarians who live in DC. The kind of like more there's a word for them. They call them regime libertarians.
Oh, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, it's kind of like a slander. We used to call them Beltway libertarians.
This is a new term.
People who live in the Beltway, which is between the two highways that go north and south of Washington D.C.
Okay.
So those are there are many of them who voted either for Joe Jorgensen or for Joe Biden, at least when like Reason Magazine put out their pieces. So does it make sense to have Vivek Ramaswamy and Donald Trump there? Yes. Are they probably going to take away votes? Yes. does Donald Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy, who needs who more is, I guess, a good
I mean,
question.
what does Vivek really need right now? He has a podcast. He's not
Attention.
running for office currently that I know of.
Mhm.
So yeah, he's just coming for the media. He's trying to be put back on the map again because he's gotten off the map.
Mhm.
So I mean, I like him. If Vivek was running for president and it was Vivek versus Donald Trump, I would have voted for Vivek. And I had no idea that at our caucus I could have actually nominated him at our
Yes.
local caucus.
Yeah, you would. It
Because
would.
in my heart of hearts, I just was like, how can I vote for Trump? This is horrible. But I did because I thought I had no choice.
So that's the lesson that you learn about caucuses versus primaries, right?
Yeah,
When you
I've
go,
never done a caucus before.
a caucus is you stand up and you say, "I nominate blah 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 for president of the United States."
That takes balls.
It takes balls. It does.
I don't have balls.
Thank God for that. Good morning. If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. I'm sitting here with my wife, who does not have balls.
We've just confirmed that if anyone was wondering.
On Freedom Family Friday, my smoking hot redheaded libertarian wifey, who's pregnant with our first child, little Hazel Rose, joins us on Fridays. We call it Freedom Family Fridays. We always have a lot of fun. We tend to goof off. We do talk politics, but then sometimes we venture off into the weird and the mad. My brother, Justin Peterson, will join us live from Boston at 8 a.m. Central Time this morning, and we'll have him for about half an hour. Unfortunately, the show is going to be ending a little bit early today. Sorry to disappoint, but thank you all who have gotten into super chats and made purchases at apforlibertyshop.com because, Stephanie, we have unlocked the dock.
We did it already?
Mhm.
What? These people, they're so motivated.
They are. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you to Quest and Donna. And thank you to Levin214 yes, as well. Brock Van Wagner over on YouTube as well. We appreciate it. I think Brock is Levin, but thank you. And
Brock is on two places.
There were some people were struggling with Rumble this morning, so they went over there. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for doing that. We'll go ahead and play the documentary for you. You guys can go ahead and enjoy it. The theme of this week has been video games with libertarian themes or anti-libertarian themes in the example of BioShock. And today is the conclusion of that, the final video game with a libertarian theme that I present to you now for your enjoyment. Thank you for unlocking it and supporting the Wake Up America show. Enjoy now the final in the series, video games with libertarian themes. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com.
The world of Red Dead Redemption 2. A rich tapestry woven with stories of rugged outlaws, encroaching civilization, and the fight for freedom. Developed by Rockstar Games, the story is set in 1899, a time when the Old West is fading and the iron grip of federal law is tightening. The protagonist, Arthur Morgan, is an outlaw and trusted lieutenant in the Van der Linde gang. The gang, led by Dutch Van der Linde, is trying to survive as the federal government and corporate interests seek to control the American frontier. They dream of freedom and self-determination, but are constantly pursued by the Pinkerton Detective Agency and local authorities. Historically, this era marked the decline of the Old West. The government was expanding its reach through the railroads, corporate exploitation of natural resources, and the establishment of new territories. People like Dutch and Arthur saw this as an existential threat to their freedom. Their struggle embodies libertarian themes like individualism and self-determination. The Van der Linde gang operates outside of conventional laws, seeking a way of life that values personal liberty over external control. However, their fight for freedom isn't always noble. They're outlaws by nature, resorting to robbery and violence to fund their idealistic dreams. Arthur's journey is one of conflicting loyalties. Initially loyal to Dutch's vision, he gradually realizes that Dutch's leadership is becoming increasingly erratic and dangerous. Arthur faces tough moral choices as he questions his beliefs and seeks redemption for past misdeeds. His internal struggle aligns with libertarian ideas of personal responsibility and the quest for meaning beyond authority and conformity. In the end, Red Dead Redemption 2 is not just a tale of cowboys and gunfights. It's a story about the clash between individual freedom and collective control, set against the backdrop of a rapidly changing America. Arthur Morgan's journey challenges players to reflect on what liberty means and how far people are willing to go to protect it. Even as civilization encroaches, the game asks whether true freedom is attainable or just an outlaw's dream. Whether you play as a ruthless outlaw or seek redemption, the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is an immersive exploration of libertarian themes, survival, and the price of freedom.
Show. I'm Austin Peterson here with my lovely wife on Freedom Family Friday, Stephanie Peterson. Steffi, how you doing?
Sure. I'm doing fabulous.
Our friend Andy Lederman is joining us live over in the chat today. Andy, we haven't seen you here before, I don't think. Yeah, Lids. Sour Patch Lids. Nice to see you guys. Hope you guys are having a great day and feeling well. Thanks for joining us, Andy. I think we must be on the front page because the numbers just keep climbing. Maybe it's just because
we're at 300 something.
Yeah, now we're over 418 people watching us live. Can we get up to 100 likes on the channel today or the show? I'd really be grateful if you'd click that like button. If it's your first time here, we'd be glad to have you join us regularly. The Wake Up America show streams live Mondays through Fridays, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. And if you click that follow button, you won't have any problem finding us again on Monday morning. Steffi, we appreciate you sticking around with us. Steffi, you are a Jew.
I am.
You are Jewish.
Yes. My mother is Jewish, so I'm Jewish. Yes.
The Libertarian Party of Michigan wants you to get in the ovens.
Why? What? I'm from Michigan. Ooh. Who wrote this?
I hate the Libertarian Party of Michigan so much.
They the other day inviting me to an event,
and
terrible. They expect me to go to their event.
They were god awful in 2016, and it doesn't look like they've gotten any better. Andy actually brought this up. So you are a Jew.
Yeah.
You must get in the ovens.
Did they write that?
No.
Okay.
It's just funny. They've got a meme going around this morning that everybody's giving them help for. Did you see it?
No.
Okay, so I pulled it up on the screen right now.
Here, maybe should I look?
Can you just kind of peek over in the screen over here?
Sure.
Can you kind of see what I'm looking at right here? See that? There we go. Left or right, the Zionists always get what they want. And they have a picture of a Hasidim with a puppet, and the puppets are a little Republican and a Democrat. See that right there?
So again, the Jews control the media. Is that what they're saying?
Stephanie, you didn't know how much power you had, did you?
I mean, I know we're very powerful on this show. I understand here.
Yes. Yes.
Our show is going to the top because I'm a Jew.
I wish it was that easy.
That's right. That's why our numbers are climbing right now.
I will say that the nice thing about marrying a Jew was that you did come with your own bag of gold.
Oh, I really did. I seriously did. Gold and silver. I have it stashed away in a very super secret place in my bunker.
Yeah. The libertarians these days, they've really gone very anti-Semitic. They really don't like the Jews.
And then did they write a comment about it on top of the meme?
They said left or right, the Zionists always get what they want.
What the heck? That's messed up.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty
You left
bad.
the Libertarian Party at a good time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's just not tasteful.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that represent liberty in any way at all?
It doesn't.
It's like, don't we want everybody to get what they want in a libertarian society?
What's funny about this too, and I think somebody posted a meme underneath it actually that I saw this morning, is that we're always told there's another anti-Semitic meme.
Was they posted another one?
No. But like some people are agreeing with them, but
of course they are.
But let's see. There's this one meme where we've been told for years that libertarianism is a Jewish plot.
Really?
Yes.
Because of Mises
because of
Milton Friedman and everything.
Well, yeah, because of all the Jews that founded the libertarianism.
Yeah, which is really cool.
No, it is
Ayn Rand.
It is a Zionist plot.
I just find it really neat that Jews were libertarians back in the day because they're certainly not now. I've had to fight my family on this. My mother won't even talk to us about politics anymore.
I know.
That's how bad it is.
The Libertarian Party needs to have had their national anthem be that song, Erica.
Erica.
Auf das Heiz. Erica.
I know.
I want my new song, though, for my theme to be this one here. Much better. See, what they never talk about is how much the Latinos have been taking over.
make a Jewish party. I'm starting a new political party starting today, the Jewish Party. There we go. And we'll play Hava Nagila as our song. And then the Jews can really rule the world. Everybody will vote for us.
La buena vida, la economia, hazlo por tu familia. See, the thing is, everybody thinks it's the Jews controlling the world. The truth is, it's really the Latinos.
Yeah. I can see
Latinos
it.
por Donald Trump. Ay, 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 by Piodo por Dios.
You know, libertarians are very split on the whole immigration issue as well. You've got your anarchists who are just like, let everybody in.
Well, the thing is,
And then you have your other people who are like, we must shut it down.
The hatred for Jews, a lot of it is because of jealousy. It really is. And it's because of, and I've talked about this concept a lot. It's people who, especially conspiracy theorists. I mean, not all conspiracy theorists are Nazis, but all Nazis are conspiracy theorists, right? That Venn diagram, right? So, and the thing is that these are people who have a high external locus of control.
Correct. They always like to blame other people.
They blame other people for their failure. And that's why, like, when you see, like, you know, usually like the Nazis that you'll see, they tend to be losers, right? They tend to be like, you know, backwater rednecks. Or like people like Nick Fuentes is a perfect example. I mean, like, he's like the last person that you would ever consider to be like a typical definition of like a masculine American man.
Very beta.
Right. Very, very small, very tiny. So you can tell
he's
that
got
like
little big man syndrome.
Right. He's projecting his insecurities. Right. And so that's where a lot of like the anti-Semitism comes from, because Jews are the type of people who do move into a country and better themselves. And typically what happens is that you have a priesthood who is already there, who wants to keep people poor and stupid so that they can keep them under their control. And the Jews move in and they're like, why should we have to do what this priest says? We want to go ahead and do what we like. We want to have our own religion.
Headstrong.
They're headstrong. They're stubborn. They have their own traditions and cultures. They tend to not assimilate as much. And so then they build for themselves typically a wealth, because they'll go be doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's jealousy that comes when people who have stayed in one socioeconomic status for a number of years don't move up, right? Because typically they're being kept down, or they're keeping themselves down in their ignorance.
Yeah.
And then the Jewish people who moved in 2 or 3 generations have moved up because, you know,
it's not like we get preferential treatment at colleges. Nobody's saying, oh, if you're Jewish, we're going to let you into this college. Although they might say, oh, the people who own the colleges, who are the headmasters, they're the ones that are letting in the Jews. I don't know. Is affirmative action, do they let in Jews in particular?
But I mean, like, and then think about like the libertarians, the ultimate losers, right? That for them, you know, blame the Jews,
right?
Because the bigger of a loser you are, the more you're going to look for scapegoats for why it's somebody else's fault that you're a loser.
Right.
And that's what it means to have a high external locus of control, rather than to say, I'm responsible for the outcomes of my life. I'm responsible for my successes or my failures. I have a high internal locus of control, which means that the buck stops here. If there's a Thomas Sowell quote, and I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to blame themselves.
What really gets me while you're searching for that is that a lot of these Zionist-hating people are actually the Jews in the Libertarian Party.
That happens too. There's a lot of like Jews who are like for Palestine. You know what I mean? For sure.
We've debated
Yeah.
some of them.
Thomas Sowell said, when people are presented with the alternatives of hating themselves for their failures or hating others for their success, they seldom choose to hate themselves.
Yeah, and I choose to hate myself. That's just how I always am. I always look to blame myself. That's just how I was raised, obviously. I'm always critical of myself.
Right. And like there's a lot of like the conspiracy theories that like cause people to be anti-Semitic were actual conspiracies themselves. So for example, Henry Ford, who wrote The International Jew, he based his conspiracy theories around of the Jews taking over the world. He based his conspiracy theories on something that I've talked to you about before, but I know you haven't looked up yet. It's called the Protocols of the Elders of Zion.
Okay.
I love that I'm the goyim here educating my Jewish wife about the protocols the
So,
elders of
well,
Zion.
this is just showing you, like, us Jews, we don't have like special meetings where we're like, how can we get the power? Let's plan this out.
Yes.
It's not something we talk about. We're just awesome naturally. We don't have to plan this stuff.
Right? It's amazing, right? So
Yeah,
successful.
it's a gift we have.
But the Protocols of the Elders of Zion was like a book that was created in Tsarist Russia by the secret police who wanted to get people, scared of the Jews so that they could do their pogroms, push the Jews out, and bring in the Ruskies, the Rus.
I mean, my great grandmother and that whole family, they all came over from Russia.
Yeah,
to Ellis Island.
they wanted you out, and that was smart. That was a good idea to get the hell out, right? My ancestors got out in the early 1900s from Denmark, and that was smart too because they would have been impressed into the German military, and none of them would have wanted that. So, anyways, so the Libertarian Party of Michigan has always been a dumpster fire, and I'm thankful that you got out, Stephanie, because
too.
they hate you for for your immutable trait for things that you had nothing to do with.
The reason I got out was because they hated me because I liked Republicans like Justin Amash and you, and now I find out they hate me because I'm Jewish. So there's even more reasons now for why I left.
Right. Well, speaking of disliking someone for things that they have no control over, Vivek Ramaswamy. Let's get back to that topic.
Yes.
Because Vivek Ramaswamy had a sit down with Ann Coulter where she talked about whether or not she would vote for him as a Republican. She agrees with him. She thought that she agreed with him a lot on issues. But would Ann Coulter have voted for Vivek Ramaswamy? Well, take a listen.
And that's why I brought on today somebody who I think has some thoughtful perspectives on the future direction of our country, of our conservative movement, and on this question of nationalism and national identity, somebody who I've been fascinated by for a long time and have interacted with on social media, but for the first time we're having at least live form conversation in the offline sense of it. It's Ann Coulter. So Ann, thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Me too. Thanks for having me. That was a fantastic opening monologue. I too am a fan of yours. I'm going to make a point of disagreeing with you so that it will be fun. You are so bright and articulate, and I guess I can call you articulate since you're not an American black. Can't say that about them. That's derogatory.
So Joe Biden, so just for the background, Joe Biden got in trouble for describing Barack Obama as the first clean, articulate, smooth talking guy, African American coming out. So that was a Joe Biden quote. So she's referencing what Joe Biden said about Barack Obama, just FYI. So let's continue.
And that was a great opening segment. Lots of things to talk about there. Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
That's why I brought.
I'm curious if she ever got back to that and what she said about being an Indian.
Right. Well, it's, she said she couldn't vote for you because you're an Indian.
I mean, what does that have to do with anything? Why are Indians bad? Okay, here's the thing, you guys. I'm an Indian supremacist. I love Indian people. Growing up in elementary school, all my friends were Indian. I was like the only white person. Indians are by far smarter than white people. Absolutely.
Yes.
They're much more disciplined than white people.
Yeah. Well, let's hear a little bit more.
Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in.
You know what WASP means, Stephanie?
No.
WASP means White Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Okay.
That's what most people are.
Right. But Joe Biden is not a WASP.
He's a Catholic.
Correct. Stephanie, you're so smart.
So he's a WASP.
He's a WASP.
That's right.
Ayahuasca. He is a white.
Sounds like he's doing ayahuasca based on how he talks.
The funny thing is about like the Catholic hatred for like anybody outside of, not all Catholics, but the general Catholic disdain for people that are not of their own ideological ilk is that like they have like many of them have this supremacist view, and yet they were the ones who were pushed to the outskirts of society and marginalized and treated as minorities until the 1960s in the United States. Like America, whenever you hear a Catholic say something like America is a Christian nation, remind them, yes, but not a Catholic nation. It was founded as a Christian nation. Yes, but it was not founded as a Catholic nation.
Goodness.
Right? And that's the thing, is that like the problem with all of this identity politics and with like the supremacism of this group think and this essentially collectivism is that they make an error, and then that error gets compounded over and over and over again because their belief systems rely on faulty premises. So they make error after error after error after error. But
at some point, the Protestants or Catholics are going to be asking for reparations because they'll be like treated unfairly.
No, good point.
A Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian. But the
don't forget too that Indians are Caucasian.
Core around which
they're not. Asians or Indians.
Indians are Asians.
Are Aryans.
No.
Yes. Look, yes.
Could that be?
Yeah. Are Indians Aryans? Yeah, they are. Indians are the original Aryans, actually.
I thought Aryans are blonde hair, blue eyed.
Indo-Aryan refers to the population speaking Indo-Aryan language. They form the predominant group in the North Indian subcontinent. Aryans are believed to be a group of people who originated in the region now known as the Middle East and spread throughout Europe and Asia. So it's a contentious issue, but it is believed.
Really changed its definition when Hitler came to power, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, again, it was because the Nazis, they always felt like they were second best. They became supremacists because they had no national identity until about World War I, because Germany was always a barbarian state. There was no Germany really, very, very far. It was Prussia. It was Austro-Hungary, Prussia, right? And it was all these broken up, disparate groups.
That's right.
And they didn't finally have like a real national identity until like really after what Hitler made Germany.
Hitler made the German identity. There you go.
He kind of did, because it was like Austrians, Hungarians,
yes,
Prussians, Germans, and it was all of these broken up separate groups that Hitler just put together and unified and just said, okay, now you're all Germans. And then because there were French, there was France, and France had always had a national identity for hundreds, maybe 1,000 years, right? And then
would love to go over to France,
right? And the British had a national identity to an extent. The challenge with the United Kingdom was that there was the invasion of the French, right? So remember I talked to you about William the Conqueror, who came over, the French, Guillaume the Conqueror, who like conquered England, and the British are really French now because the French king William the Conqueror won the Battle of Hastings in 1066. And remember, I was playing that game, Age of Civilization, and I was kind of explaining to you the history of.
Yes.
So like Anglo-Saxon is Anglo is English, and then Saxon is Saxon, and they combine to create a single identity. So like, and I'm sure Ann Coulter knows this, but we now sort of like what Hitler did with Germany, we now place like this group of different people into one identity. And then because people feel insecure when they don't have a strong identity, they place an identity on top of such and say, well, we're better than their identity. And that's how these conflicts tend to arise.
Are Jews Anglo-Saxon?
No.
Okay.
They don't, I mean, no.
Say Jews are a race anyway, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no. So anyways, there's your history lesson there this morning, talking about what is white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. Let's let Ann Coulter continue to explain why she, as a WASP, would not vote. I assume she's Protestant. She might be Catholic. If so, then she's a WASP.
Exactly.
And continue to explain why she would not vote for Vivek because he's Indian.
The nation's values are formed is the WASP. We've never had a president who didn't have at least partial English ancestry. Never.
No, I think that's an interesting tour through that historical lane, but I want to pick on one point you said, which is, citizenship, right? Let's talk about what does it mean to be a citizen of a nation. And it's interesting, if a lot of people trip up on this, they'll say, well, it means what you get, right? Do I get to vote or do I get some other claim? And that doesn't really work. Actually, if you look through most of American history, for example, women were citizens long before women could vote, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not about what you get. In my book, and I think that this is true with the American conception of citizenship, I think it's true of the Roman conception of citizenship, is it's about your loyalty, actually.
Yes.
To whom do you actually pledge loyalty? And so I think
this is where a lot of Nazis or, Groypers, white nationalists, white supremacist types, this is their criticism of American Jews. They say that American Jews are not loyal to the United States. They are more loyal to Israel.
Oh, correct. I could see where they make that argument.
Some of them, and for some of them, that might be true.
Right.
In which case...
I've never been to Israel. I don't want to go to Israel, so I'm more loyal to America.
Yes, and I'm loyal to the United States as well, right? I believe in America first, but that doesn't mean that I don't think the United States should have allies.
Correct.
I think Israel is definitely one of them.
Having allies would make America even stronger. It's in our best interest.
Yeah, and
at least in our opinion.
And I think I've said this before. If I were to offer a criticism of Israel, being a supporter of their war against Hamas, if I were to offer a criticism of Israel, it's that they really haven't, what they say, they really haven't draped themselves in glory in the last few decades. That their approach to diplomacy has been more one of sticks than carrots, more that they have been more bullies than they have been diplomats, right? And I think that they've taken advantage of the United States in that they have lobbied for foreign aid, they have lobbied to take our resources with the promise that in return, the United States will receive peace and security in the Middle East.
Right. What are they giving us?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
We're not getting the peace.
Exactly. We're not getting peace, and we're not getting security in the Middle East. I think it's fair to criticize Israel and their foreign policy on those grounds. To suggest that the United States should just continue to write them blank checks without some sort of a return, I think is naive.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Okay, so let's continue here.
But I share that in common, actually. I don't know, I've never asked you this, Dan, but I assume from seeing the things you said, tell me if I'm right about this, you're probably against the existence of dual citizenship as a concept. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes. You and I share that in common.
I hate that evil laugh.
It's incoherent. Yeah. It's not just outrageous. It's incoherent. It's oxymoronic. How could you possibly have a loyalty to two different nations where the essence of citizenship is which nation to whom you had your undivided loyalty? That's what the essence of citizenship is all about. So
I've never felt strongly about that concept of dual citizenship. It's not something that I've really thought deeply about, right? But
would you vote for someone who has dual citizenship?
That's a tough question. I don't know. I mean,
nobody with dual citizenship has ever become president before. I don't think.
Well, you can't. I don't think you can. No, you have to be a natural born citizen.
Oh, okay.
It's possible that you could have received.
Because if you were, let's say you were born in America and then you married somebody in Japan and then you had dual citizenship because you married someone, or I don't know where you could get
I think I might vote. Might vote for somebody like that if they had the right policies. If the if the person who was running against them was worse, right?
Correct.
In that situation. So I guess when it comes to the dual citizenship question, I haven't thought about it. What if their dual citizenship is Norway and they wanted to be able to send their kid to a Norwegian school for college or something like that? That wouldn't bother me, right? I guess I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. I haven't thought about that kind of issue deeply. Apparently, Ann Coulter has. She has a strong opinion about it.
So much there, but where I wouldn't say lose you, but I may fail to fully understand you is. On that axis of citizenship, what does ethnicity have to do with the matter? And I think you would be well served, and maybe this could be a great platform for you to do it, to make the case for why that, what you put at WASP basis for the American identity, how is that relevant against a backdrop of which you got the WASP seventh generation descendant of some rich guy on the Upper East Side in Brooklyn that pretends to hate this country because it's the cool thing to do, versus somebody who came here as the kid of immigrants but pledges loyalty to this country.
Great question, Vivek.
For citizenship. Yes. Aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
Great question.
Well, I will say many of those seventh generations WASPs I definitely hate. I know we have a lot of really, really bad ones, but like I said, anyone can adopt this. I guess what I just said, if any of your children marry a DAR, I would definitely
What the heck is a DAR?
vote for them for president. It's not so much, it's more president is different. You have to be natural born, as you know, which, by the way, Ted Cruz is not, basically because of what you were just describing. Where is the loyalty? So ambassadors' children born actually in the United States are not natural born, but that's a total sidebar. I've gotten
That's actually not a sidebar at all. I mean, the fact that ambassadors' kids born in the United States are not citizens is actually an overlooked fact. If a kid of an ambassador from Mexico does not enjoy birthright citizenship, neither does somebody who's in this country
Really?
Yes.
birthright citizenship either, right? So that's actually a quite important logical chain. But I go back to, forget even because you get to this constitutional, legalistic, and I like that stuff, but we'll just put that to one side for a second. But the essence of American identity, I think there's a part of you that believes, I think you basically said so, that part of that identity is tied to a certain Anglo-Saxon heritage of this country, and that you're more American if you vested into that over the course of generations that are descended from that, rather than somebody who came here with a civic commitment to the country, went through the naturalization process, and then their kids may, in some real sense of the word, and the reason I respect you is that you actually have the, so to speak, the stones to be able to say it, is that you think that there's a difference in the status of the Americanness of that person. And that's where I think I disagree with you, but I want to give you the opportunity to air the case for that strand of national identity that I think we ought to just smoke out and be able to have a discussion about.
Well, the reason I mentioned the natural born citizen is I'm only talking about president of the United States. So obviously the framers thought there was something different about being president, the one man who holds one entire branch of government in his hands. It isn't to say anything about who could be a Supreme Court justice, and they have a little more power than the president, by the way, or Secretary of State or governor, or obviously senator or any other position, but president, and I guess by extension, vice president. That is something that the framers did think was so important that you had this deep generation-wide loyalty. And why would they think that? Well, as many said at the time, freedom is a wonderful thing, but it's a very hard thing to learn. And one of the things, and I cite these polls in my book, Adios America, it's striking and depressing that lots of our very best immigrants just do not understand the Second Amendment. They do not get the First Amendment. And you take polls of them, should you have a right to bear arms? Should hate speech be banned? And it's noticeable that large percentages of immigrants and children of immigrants really don't get that. And I think that is the point of having natural born citizen only for president, that this is a really delicate thing we have, this freedom to bear arms.
Yeah, so she's making some good points here, actually.
He was born in America.
Right, but she's talking about it being a generational thing. So she's talking about not only that immigrants, but the children of immigrants, when polled, do not seem to understand or respect the values contained within the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and those things in the Constitution. Yeah, they still have those values. So she's talking about and what she's specifically referring to is President of the United States, not the Supreme Court or not members of Congress, right, where you don't have to be a natural born citizen to be a congressman. The framers of the Constitution, they thought that the most important job that the President of the United States should be withheld from people who are not natural born citizens.
Correct. I agree.
And Coulter thinks that should extend herself. She wouldn't vote for him as an Indian, Vivek, because she thinks that it would take generations of time for them to enculturate themselves, if that's a word, to the United States and our traditions and values of liberty.
So I hope if she was talking to a white man whose family immigrated from Britain, that she would say the exact same thing to him. That if Vivek was a white man whose parents
she probably
were from England,
would not. And the reason why she would say that is because when she talks about Anglo-Saxon is not American. Anglo-Saxon is English.
Okay, so then
But-
let's pick another country.
Well,
A white man
no, I think,
from
but
Russia.
let me make the point.
Or from his parents immigrated from Russia.
Let me complete the point I was going to
Yeah.
make, which is just that I think that when she talks about that, there is the Anglo-Saxon tradition of liberty descends from the United Kingdom.
Oh, it does. Yes.
English liberty. American liberty is different from British liberty, very different
Oh yeah.
from British liberty. And we know this because of our contact with British conservatives. So I would say that, if you're going to talk about other countries, she would probably not apply that to white people from Russia. She would think of them differently and say she would probably apply different standards to different people. I can only guess because of what she said here.
I don't like her. I really don't like what I'm hearing. She's giving me the ick. She just seems so on a high horse.
That's her shtick.
Go run for president, Anne.
That's
See
always
if
been
you
her,
win.
Have some kids, and why don't you
Yeah.
create a little generational
her
thing
eggs
here?
are all dried up, honey. She's like at least 50-something. She's
Yes.
past her prime.
Yes, I can see her argument, but I would say that I think that ultimately I would still vote for someone like Vivek Ramaswamy,
Yeah.
who believes in liberty and does understand it and has articulated his understanding of it. I would vote for him before I would vote for a WASP, a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant who doesn't understand liberty. Stephanie, we are not going to have time to talk about women psychopaths, okay? Maybe we just showed one.
She seems like one.
Justin Peterson, my brother, is coming up next. We're going to talk to him about Tinkerbell being canceled. She's a problem now. When we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
The world of Red Dead Redemption 2, a rich tapestry woven with stories of rugged outlaws, encroaching civilization, and the fight for freedom. Developed by Rockstar Games, the story is set in 1899, a time when the Old West is fading and the iron grip of federal law is tightening. The protagonist, Arthur Morgan, is an outlaw and trusted lieutenant in the Van der Linde gang. The gang, led by Dutch Van der Linde, is trying to survive as the federal government and corporate interests seek to control the American frontier. They dream of freedom and self-determination but are constantly pursued by the Pinkerton Detective Agency and local authorities. Historically, this era marked the decline of the Old West. The government was expanding its reach through the railroads, corporate exploitation of natural resources, and the establishment of new territories. People like Dutch and Arthur saw this as an existential threat to their freedom. Their struggle embodies libertarian themes like individualism and self-determination. The Van der Linde gang operates outside of conventional laws, seeking a way of life that values personal liberty over external control. However, their fight for freedom isn't always noble. They're outlaws by nature, resorting to robbery and violence to fund their idealistic dreams. Arthur's journey is one of conflicting loyalties. Initially loyal to Dutch's vision, he gradually realizes that Dutch's leadership is becoming increasingly erratic and dangerous. Arthur faces tough moral choices as he questions his beliefs and seeks redemption for past misdeeds. His internal struggle aligns with libertarian ideas of personal responsibility and the quest for meaning beyond authority and conformity. In the end, Red Dead Redemption 2 is not just a tale of cowboys and gunfights. It's a story about the clash between individual freedom and collective control, set against the backdrop of a rapidly changing America. Arthur Morgan's journey challenges players to reflect on what liberty means and how far people are willing to go to protect it. Even as civilization encroaches, the game asks whether true freedom is attainable or just an outlaw's dream. Whether you play as a ruthless outlaw or seek redemption, the world of Red Dead Redemption 2 is an immersive exploration of libertarian themes, survival, and the price of freedom.
Welcome back to the Wake Up America show. Thanks for hanging out on standby. And thank you to rumble.com for featuring us on the front page of the website. It makes a huge difference when Rumble helps support the channel. And we're grateful to Chris Pavlovsky, Siraj Hashmi, and many of our other friends over there who have helped the Wake Up America shows become a success. The Wake Up America show is a small business, and I typically produce this show entirely by myself. Although I do have some help behind the scenes. My lovely wife, Stephanie, helps me to put together some of the marketing for the Wake Up America show. And so far, we've been in business now for almost 2 years.
Wow. We started with Buddhas and now we make bikinis.
And now we make bikinis. But the Wake Up America show does sometimes get some help from our sponsors. And one sponsor who saw us on rumble.com, thanks to Rumble putting us on the front page, are our friends over at Preserve Gold. And they did their homework on us. They took a look at what we stand for and our values. And they took a consideration that the audience of people who watch the Wake Up America show might be interested in purchasing gold at some point in the near future. And I said, I absolutely agree. Many of my audience members are interested in gold and silver, not only to protect themselves and their portfolio from any financial problems that might come down the line, but also as a good long-term investment. When you and I know well that the Federal Reserve is going to continue to print money no matter what we do, even if Vivek Ramaswamy were to become president of the United States, until we entirely abolish the deep state, we're going to have to deal with inflation from the Fed. If you're like me and you're interested in finding out more about how to invest in gold and silver, it's not just about having coins delivered to your home and your front door. They absolutely can do that. But you can also invest in physical metals in your Roth IRA. How would you do something like that? Well, if you're curious and you want to learn more, you can get a free information packet. So if you text the word Liberty to that number that you see on the screen, that's Liberty to 50505. Text the word Liberty to the number 50505. If you have any questions about how to invest in gold and silver, they will reach out to you. They will not spam you or call you 24 hours a day and bug you like crazy. They'll just give you the information you need and then give you the time to make your own decision. But if you'd like to not only protect your financial future, but support the future of our family here and to help to grow the Wake Up America show so that we can keep doing these Freedom Family Fridays, text the word Liberty to 50505. Again, text the word Liberty to 50505. All right, welcome back to the show. It's time to have some fun. Freedom Family Friday means Stephanie Peterson's in the house.
Hey. Hard to text Liberty to 50505. I'm just saying.
It's not hard.
It's just a text message, guys.
It's easy. It's free. They just send you a free information packet and they follow up and then that's it. You get to make your own decisions.
You don't even have to call a phone number and hear someone's voice.
Exactly. So it's very easy to help support the show. All right. Freedom Family Friday means Justin Peterson, live from Boston, is joining us as well. Good morning, JP. What's up?
Good morning. Do you like this shirt that I'm wearing for your show?
Love it.
I can't see it. What is it?
It's got musical notes and a piano on there.
Oh,
Looked like Mugatu.
This is a gift from our father. I got it in the mail yesterday. And I said I got to wear this on the show.
Justin, what size shirt do you wear?
Extra large. Extra large.
That's actually
personal question.
That's actually smaller than mine. I'm a 2X these days.
Are you serious?
Yeah, bro. 2X. Bro, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Kale. You need some kale.
I know. We've got a backyard full of lettuce. We got to eat it. Stephanie.
It's growing very high.
Yes. Stephanie, we're glad to have you here. Justin, glad to have you here. This is the Peterson family, and we're all SENs. Me, Steffi, and Justin. We've only got 30 minutes with Justin, so let's hit the news. Justin, Disney, you are, I guess, would you claim the title Disney adult? You were a Disney child.
Yeah.
But not a Disney adult. You worked at Disney, though, as an adult.
I did. No, I grew up on it. You know, the first story I ever heard as a kid was Snow White, because Mom would read that story. In fact, there was a funny thing Mom would say when I was a kid, whenever she wanted me to calm down, she would go, "Once upon a time," and I would go, you know, like listening to a story. I'd be like, "What? Yes. Tell me the story. I want to hear a story."
Aww.
Yeah. So really cute. But I always loved this. I love Snow White. Snow White was actually the first movie I ever saw at, like, I probably was 4 years old. Back in my day, we had Disney books with like records, and you would put the record on, and the record would basically narrate the book while you were listening along to the story. And then the chimes would ring, and would go, "Bring," and that's how you knew it was time to turn the page in the book. You know, nostalgia.
I remember that very well. And Justin, you loved Disney so much as a kid that you actually learned how to draw in the Disney style. You used to do like the Little Mermaid that looked exactly like the movie.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I hadn't gone into music, I probably would have gone into some kind of animation, because I just loved to. I was very visual. I loved to draw, And that's kind of actually a funny story. That's kind of what I think everybody thought I was going to do. I think they thought, oh, he's going to go in to be an animator.
That would have been cool. It would have been
I
interesting.
never knew this.
But and Justin, they probably would have hired you as part of their diversity, equity, inclusion standards. And then you would have been miserable because you would have had to oversee the decline. Justin, just give us your hot take. Tinkerbell is considered now to be problematic.
Problematic, yeah.
Problematic. Why is Tinkerbell problematic? And what's your take?
So, okay, Tinkerbell, as far as I can conceive, is problematic because they're okay, I'm a Disney fan, but if you've ever seen Peter Pan, the movie from the 50s, there's a scene where she sort of lands over a hand mirror, right? And she looks at herself. She's sort of like looking at herself in the mirror. And there's one point where she kind of looks at her hips and she kind of puts her hands down where her hips are, and then she pulls her hands up like this to see like how broad her hips are. And it's like a moment where she's like, oh no. So that's the body conscious criticism of Tinkerbell, that like she cares about her weight, right? That she cares about that she's a little too heavy.
Doesn't she get stuck through like a keyhole?
Yeah,
like she can't.
that's right.
Her hips are too wide to get her through a keyhole.
Just need to make the keyholes bigger.
Right, or the airplane seats. So
Tinkerbell gets stuck on an airplane.
Yeah,
because she's too fat.
Yeah, can't do it. She needs to buy, they need to make planes bigger. I'm like, okay.
So Justin, seriously, so what is Disney doing?
So what they've done is they have, in the past, when I worked there, ever since I've worked there, they used to do meet and greets. So you could go with your kids and you would queue up to go and like meet your favorite Disney characters, and you could see they would give you like a little timeline of who was where and what was going on. So if you had a particular princess, or if you had a particular I don't know, like classic Disney character like Goofy, Mickey, Donald, Pluto, any of those guys, you could go and you could, get your picture taken with them. Well, and Tinkerbell was doing that for quite some time. But now they've pulled her out of circulation because of the criticisms that are being leveled now by these, I'm just going to basically call them DEI boards or commissars with a K, these commissars, these race commissars, who are basically going through, and I sent you a link this morning, it's basically they're going through the collected canon of Disney, and they're problematizing the historical films, the books, everything. They're going through everything like, I don't know, some political, history. We've heard of that before, people that comb through books and they look for, suppressive ideas and they have to get rid of them, or, So there's a whole cadre of people that are charged with this, being in these advisory boards that basically just tell Disney what's up and down about, their previous artistic work. So things like Dumbo.
I'm looking at this now. It says Dumbo, the crows and musical number in Dumbo pay homage to racist minstrel shows where white performers with blackened faces and tattered clothing imitated and ridiculed enslaved Africans on southern plantations. This is Disney.
Oh my
putting
goodness.
this on their own website.
I mean, Disney, wasn't he like a known anti-Semitic or racist?
Walt Disney?
Yeah, Walt Disney.
I don't know the story about that.
Oh, okay.
No.
I thought there's some allegations about him maybe not being super accepting of people.
Who was
it's funny because when he was in the
1940s, but
it's funny because in the war era they did make propaganda films that were anti-Nazi. So
Disney did?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Big
so
time.
they were maybe
there was a very brief period in the interwar period when the America Firsters were explicitly Hitler-loving, National Socialist, anti-Jew types. When people like Henry Ford and others were, and Charles Lindbergh were explicitly anti-Semitic and pro-Hitler during the.
Disney was in there too. Okay,
well,
never mind.
I don't know. Peter Pan, they have him listed here. They show because of the music number, what makes the red man red.
Red.
Swiss Family Robinson as well is problematic because people who are white appear in yellow face, meaning it's just white people who are like Asians, like the musical Anything Goes.
Or
little white kids.
Or King and I.
Aristocats, a racist caricature of East Asian people playing the piano with chopsticks, which is, and his eyes are slanted here. So,
oh my gosh.
Yes. So the Walt Disney Company is deeply concerned. They put the ugliest black woman they could find on the planet at the very top with the biggest
Rainbow
Spoon. What are these things that rings in her ears? The ugliest fucking tattoo I've ever seen, right on the middle of her neck. These gigantic.
Which, by the way, let me just can I point something out to you? When I
Speaking
worked
of
at Walt
racist
Disney
caricatures, go
when
ahead.
I worked at Walt Disney World, everything had to be was very stringent about your appearance, right?
Right.
With tattoos, you could have no visible tattoos and work at Walt Disney World. You had to cut your hair in a certain way. Your facial hair had to be cut in a way. Women had to wear nail polish that looked in a certain way. There was a stringent appearance code at Walt Disney World, and I'm going to tell you why. The reason that those codes existed was not to suppress or oppress people that worked in the parks, okay, which is what they would do it today, how they would frame it today. The reason was children are frightened of people that look like that. And they will not. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Seems controversial.
If a child is in distress in the park and they see someone that looks like that, the child is not likely to seek out the help of that particular cast member for help. They're going to look for someone who looks like a generally well-adjusted, safe, grown-up that they can go and ask for help in the park.
Not a person who has like a 1999 tattoo on their neck, giant plastic spoon-looking things in their ears.
No.
Plugs, earplugs.
Yeah, and of course, and a big nose ring.
Right.
So
none of that
Is
would
it
be
the one
allowed
in the
at the
center looking like a bowl?
Yeah,
that one?
no, it's the one on the side. It's the one on the side.
None of that would be allowed if you worked at Walt Disney World. Like if you were a cast member, which is what they call them. They don't call them employees; they call them cast members. If you were a cast member, you would not be able to look like that. Now, I'm sure maybe today they've relaxed some of those things, but I think it's very important that people know the reason why they existed in the first place. The reason that they existed in the first place was for the safety and mental safety, I hate to say that word again, but of children, that children would be like, oh, that adult looks like they work here and they will help me, right? But if you've got someone who's tatted up and has piercings and all of that, a child isn't so sure about that. They're like, that person looks a little scary.
Sketchy.
Yes.
Justin, it seems as if Disney is not all that concerned about safety of children. Have you seen that new documentary that came out, Quiet on the Set?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard tons about it. Yeah,
They
for sure.
talk about a gay pedophile who was convicted and was a registered sex offender from Nickelodeon, who was then hired by Disney to oversee production of children's content at Disney. Ron DeSantis got in big trouble for calling this out. He was called homophobic because there was such a large number of arrests that were made at Disney World of employees who had been inappropriate with children. It's not the Disney of Donna Jo Peterson reading Snow White anymore.
Oh gosh, no. And the problem that I have is that why is the LGBT committee? Yeah, why is the LGBT committee getting involved with people that are like kitty diddlers in the first place? Like, what is that about? That's so, it's the given. Yeah, I just think it's
maps are a part of the group now, right?
Well, because the thing is, it's that the far left philosophies, they don't even believe in the innocence of children. They believe that the innocence of children is a myth, right? To be deconstructed and to be, there's one guy who, Alok Menon, I can't remember his name, but he was like, oh, little girls are kinky. And I'm like, you are literally trash. You are literally trash. Who is this man?
He works for Disney?
Alok, you can find him. He's one of those, like, one of those people. He's Alok Alan. He's always like going about, little girls can be kinky. And I'm like, gross.
I definitely recommend that documentary, Quiet on the Set. It talks about all of the exploitation of children that was going on by producers of Nickelodeon in the late 90s, early aughts. People like Ariana Grande, Drake Bell, and others come out with their stories of what they were made to do
Amanda
as kids.
Bynes.
Amanda Bynes, what
Well,
happened
look
to her.
what they did to Britney Spears. You know, the
Yep, her
Mouseketeers.
too.
I mean,
Her too.
like hello, you know. I mean, Justin Timberlake got out okay, I guess, and Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling got out okay, and Christina Aguilera got out okay. But yeah, I mean, it's really sad. To me,
You
it's
think
very
that-
sad. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you think that part of the problem of Tinkerbell is that she's like an attractive white girl, not just that she
No.
is hippie?
No, I think it's the weight thing, and I think that the other issue that they listed on the screed, if you will, of why they wanted to get rid of her was because she was also vying for the affections of Peter Pan, right? So that was another problem, right? That she was,
Oh.
you know,
She was competing for his affections.
That she was straight, you know, and she, you know, because it was like there's like a girl battle.
She was
between her
jealous
and
of Wendy. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So there's some girl fighting.
Steffi doesn't
going
know.
on.
Yeah.
So
Steffi
women
doesn't know.
compete for the alpha male.
Yes.
That's how it works in the world.
So Peter has a crush on Wendy. Wendy has a crush on Peter. Tinkerbell is his best friend, and she's the one who gives them the power to fly. The boys the power to fly. Because without the Tinkerbell, the fairy dust,
Right.
the lost boys can't go to Neverland and live forever. And so, you know, I've talked to you about the story of Peter Pan before, and like, you know, Captain Hook and the clock inside of the crocodile as like a metaphor for like growing old and like, you know, how we fear aging and things like that. And that's what Captain Hook's, he's always afraid of the crocodile, which has the clock. But there's also the metaphor in it of like the jealousy of women, because Tinkerbell is in love with Peter Pan and she wants to keep Peter to herself. So when Wendy comes into the picture, Peter has a bit of a crush on her. He brings her to Neverland with the Lost Boys. Yes, and Tinkerbell turns red and is angry and doesn't want to help the Lost Boys because she's jealous of Peter.
Sounds so normal. This is how us women
Well,
function.
she actively I mean, not for nothing, but in the film, she tries to kill Wendy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women would want to do that to each other.
Oh
over
yeah,
a man.
when she
Absolutely.
first kind of brings them to Neverland, you know, she zooms way far ahead of them, so fast that Wendy can't keep up. You know, and
we
she's
want to see
kind of
Wendy fail. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's like, you know, this is female cooperation here. But yeah, poor Wendy and poor Tinkerbell. You know, so what's next? You know, I guess when you can't control something, you have to destroy it.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
I wonder if they're going to reinvent her and bring her back as a non-binary, transgender,
different color.
overweight fairy.
Great point, Steffi. Hold on real quick. We've got 15 minutes left
And
on
then
the
she'll
wake up.
have a tuckums in her suit
Okay,
from Target.
Yes. We've only got 15 minutes left on the show. Real quick, let me just remind everybody that the show is going to end a little bit early today, FYI. So for those of you who might just be, we've got over 1,000 people, 1,100 people joining us live right now. Thank you to rumble.com for being so supportive of the Wake Up America show. I'm Austin Peterson. Today is what we call Freedom Family Friday on the show, which means that my beautiful wife Stephanie is joining us. My brother Justin from Boston is
Having
here.
so much fun with
We're
this.
having way too much fun. Time's flying by. So I just wanted to remind you,
Speaking of fly,
speaking of flying, pixie dust, the second star to the right. If you guys are enjoying the content and you'd like to see more of it, make sure you click that follow button before we leave today. I don't want to lose you. I'd love to find out what you're all about and introduce yourself in the Rumble comments. But we will be back on Monday on our regular schedule, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. So me, JP, SP, we're all for liberty. And my brother Justin is joining us live from Boston. We're talking about Tinkerbell now being problematic and being taken away from the meet and greets in Disney and the problems that we have with that, because essentially it is erasing some of our beloved childhood characters in order to suit an agenda that is malign. Justin, wouldn't you agree this is all part of an agenda?
I do, because we were making jokes like what, 5 years ago about the whole consent thing with like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty, right? That they were sleeping and some dude comes along and kisses them without consent. And that was like, oh no, so then they started making jokes about Sleeping Beauty just dying basically because like, no one consented.
Let her die. And she doesn't give you consent, just let her go.
She was just a skeleton, waiting forever and ever, and she just died. And it's just so. I mean, it's just like it's midwittery. It's people who do not understand art. They do not understand culture. They do not understand history. They do not understand. Did I say literature? They don't read. And they just see. I mean, these are the same people that want to tear down
Statues.
everything.
Yeah.
Statues. Our founding fathers. That's what got me, that's what gets me just absolutely riled up. It's like, don't touch Thomas Jefferson, and you leave it, leave those people alone.
I'm surprised that they still have the Hall of Presidents there at Walt Disney World. I'm surprised they still have like the Americana stuff. Like,
there you go. I mean, yeah, because you go in. I mean, I don't know if you remember, if you ever saw that at Epcot, they have the American Experience or the American Adventure, and it's like the film there, and you watch the history of the country and all the stuff that the founders had to deal with, and all the, the Civil War and all these things that were, and it's just like, you come out of that and you go, gosh, I just feel good about being an American. This is great.
Yeah, they don't want that anymore.
They can't have that. You can't have that. You have to, yeah. It's really, it's awful. It's really terrible. It's really terrible.
Justin, we've got 12 minutes left on the show. You sent me a video of Peter Boghossian, who is interviewing a woman about female security and this concept of like self-defense. And Stephanie and we've been having this conversation about, women have been talking this last week about if they would they rather meet a bear in the woods or a man in the woods?
I'm making my hustling and homemaking video about it right now. Right. So it'll be out on Monday and on Sunday for the locals community.
Yes, which presupposes that like in some sense you're going to have to defend yourself, even if there's a bear, right? But in this video, basically the woman that he's talking to says, essentially, we should just teach men. We shouldn't teach women to defend themselves. We should just teach men to not rape. Just teach men to not be violent, which strikes me as a bit naive. Your thoughts?
I don't even think it's naive. I think it's delusional, because it makes a supposition of the state of reality, and it says, well, this is how it should be. I'm like, we don't live in the should be, darling. We live in the is. We don't live in the ought to be. We live in the is, and it's just delusional. And I'm like, it's like saying, with robbers, we just need to teach the robbers not to rob. I mean, we just need to teach the criminals not to do. If we could just teach the criminals not to do crime, maybe they wouldn't do crime.
If we could just teach the bears to not eat the women in the woods.
Well,
why aren't we blaming the bears here?
Well, my favorite thing about that whole thing, well, not my favorite thing, but one of the favorite things I had said was, why scream? Like, if you're in the woods with a bear woman and the woman sees the bear, don't scream.
Why?
Because who are you screaming for?
Exactly.
Who are you screaming for to come and save you?
A man who's going to hurt you?
Right. No, I'm just saying, like, don't scream. Don't scream.
She's just hoping against hope that there's going to be another bull dyke out there with her in the woods.
Another woman. I'm saying this, women, if you want out of the kitchen, then you got to play with the men, and you got to learn how to play with the men. You got to learn your karate, and you got to learn your firearm skills. That's what I'm doing.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I just watched 2 days ago a video from 1970 on second wave feminism. What do you think all of those second wave feminists were doing? They were all taking self-defense classes, all of them. Because prior to that, women weren't, doing that. And they were getting, tossed around and beat up. And that's not right. But these women were taking matters into their own hands and saying, I'm going to go in and I'm going to take a self-defense class. They weren't saying, we should just teach the men not to beat us up. Tell that to the women getting punched in the face in New York City.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we should just teach those people not to punch you in the face. Like, you either live in reality and you are guided by truth, or you live in la fantasy land.
Yeah.
No joke.
Existing is taking risk every single day of your life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, we don't want to live in a society where random acts of violence happen, but they do happen.
Yeah.
Like that's just an irrevocable reality of our situation, and it always has been.
And if us
People will
women don't
always
want to
do
rely on a
bad
man,
things.
then we have to do the job ourselves.
Well, and the guys who are not going to beat you up are not going to beat you up. Like they're just not going to do it because they're going to be like, yeah, that's not how I roll. But okay, so those guys are going to get the lesson and they're going to go, yeah, I shouldn't beat up on chicks or whatever. But the people who are demented are still going to do that. So the idea that you're just be like, well, we should just teach men not to do. Yeah, we do teach men not to do that. In fact, isn't that what's happening in our culture now?
Did you know that statistically speaking, that nearly every single day in the United States, an adult woman molests a grade school age boy?
Yes. The amount of abusers are more so women than men for children. Yes, that is true.
The majority of infants that are murdered in the United States are murdered by women.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We should teach women to not rape kids.
Right.
We should teach women to not murder their babies.
I mean,
yes.
Right. We wouldn't want to victim blame, right? And blame.
But we have postpartum depression. We can't help it. It's
postpartum depression. Oh, yes. It's never your fault. Accountability and women in 2024 is like oil and water. Everything is someone else's fault. No accountability can ever come upon them. If you asked a woman, why was she walking half naked down in the red light district after having 25 gin and tonics? What were you thinking doing something like that? It's victim blaming. No accountability can ever be placed upon someone like that because everything is the opposite gender's fault. Justin, it's 8:24 a.m. Do you know where your children are? You don't have any, but can you tell us?
I do, but yeah.
Justin, is there anything?
I'm not trying to be a surrogate out here like some of these crazy men out here.
Justin, we love you very much, and of course, everybody in the chat is disappointed that we have to leave early. Is there anything? By the way, Dad texted me and said he likes your shirt. By the way, very nice.
Baby.
Good find, Dad.
Thanks for the shirt, Dad. Yeah.
He's very generous. Dad, is there anything else you'd like to share or plug before we let you go, bro?
Hey, come study and sing with me, man. I got some openings in my voice studio. If you want to come and take some voice lessons, I do remote lessons. I've also got a Substack coming out this morning at 10 here in about 30 minutes. I write about vocal pedagogy, and nothing I write about is really political. So if you want to learn about music, singing, all that kind of jazz, come on in. I'm getting subscriptions all the time. Even if you don't know anything about it, when you get my articles, you can buy me a coffee. I got a little button on there that says buy me a coffee, and you can give me like $2 or $3.
That's cool.
Ike giving a shits over in the chat was really wanting you to sing, Justin. We don't have time for that today, but take a singing lesson with Justin and he will sing to your heart's content. Yeah,
that's right. I'll give you all the voice you want.
That's right. Pay me.
There you go.
I'm a capitalist, baby.
Appreciate you, bro. Have a wonderful day, Justin.
All right, you too.
We'll see you next week. Bye, Justin. Yeah, give him some applause.
That was fun.
Stephanie, we have to go. Sadly, we have to leave the show early today. We would like our listeners to click the like button and follow us before we leave. But I would love it, Stephanie, real quick, if you wouldn't mind. Tell them real quick about the barbecuing flash sale going on at apforlibertyshop.com.
I need to continue it today. It ended last night at midnight. So
okay.
We started again today.
Pick up for us today.
So basically we have new oven mitts, aprons, outdoor mats, cutting boards that you can buy at our shop, apforlibertyshop.com. All of those items are on the top of our page right now, and they're 15% off. So right after the show's over, I'm actually going to go and...
I just did it.
Okay, cool. So we continued the discount for another day. So flash sale continued. So please go over there. You get 15% off. 'Tis the season. We just bought an Enjoy Liberty outdoor mat, and it's actually on its way right now. Oh, and I bought a George Washington stained glass oven mitt that I just made the other day as well. So that's on its way to us. So we love our own products. We use our own products. So
yeah, I bought the giant. I bought the giant Enjoy Liberty retro outdoor rug for our patio. We've also got come back with a Warrant doormats. Don't Tread on Me doormats, which is quite ironic. Less government, more beer aprons. All of this on sale today only now. The flash sale continues today, and then it will end tonight at midnight. So head over to apforlibertyshop.com. That's exit it through the Grift Shop.
Oh, and the code word is barbecue, BBQ.
Yeah, use the code.
So put that in the checkout.
That's right. Use the code BBQ. Click like and follow the channel. We'll see you guys on Monday. Stephanie, anything else?
As always, be free.
Thanks, guys. Beth's Life, it was great to meet you. Quest Fanning, Bruce Burtwhistle, Arrogant Lamb, Individual Thinker. Welcome to the show for the first time today.
Individual thinkers.
Glokas, Obadiah, lovely Rare Camellia, Andy Lederman, it was great to see you again this morning. Cecilia, Mighty Megatron, Ike Giving a Shits, Quest Fanning, Whitey White 14, Quantum Kitty, Grixis, and so many others. Let's see if we still got our YouTubers are up. Dash is here. Pucho, Trump 1, JP, Agorizer, Kaiwan Calendar, Robbie Theraman, Brock Van Wagner, and so many others. If you're watching us on X.com as well, we appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Monday on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com. Bye, guys.
Expanse of time, a year might seem like a mere moment, but oh, what a year it's been. In September 2022, Austin and Stephanie Peterson embarked on a journey to wake up America. They began humbly, with just 20 souls tuning in, learning, listening, and though challenges arose, like the looming shadow of YouTube demonetization, their spirit never waned. And now, thanks to you, thousands rise with the sun to join them, to listen, to engage, to be a part of a community. So here's to you, and to Wake Up America, for memories shared, for friends made, for the journey ahead, and for never, ever forgetting to rise and freedom. Happy anniversary.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Is the outdoor your home about as exciting as a library? Then spice it up and unbore your space with our custom metal signs. Crafted with love and a bit of libertarian magic, you can customize your own metal sign at apforlibertyshop.com. So head to apforlibertyshop.com, customize your own metal sign today.
Welcome to a world of vocal discovery at Peterson Voice Studio. I'm Justin Peterson, here to guide your musical journey. Envision a place where your voice reaches new heights, where every note tells a story. We embrace all singers, from the enthusiastic shower vocalists to aspiring stars, ensuring each voice finds its unique rhythm and tone. Are you ready to elevate your voice? Visit petersonvoicestudio.com and sign up for remote lessons tailored just for you. Let's begin this melodious journey together.
Tired of spending your hard-earned money on woke corporations that don't share your pro-freedom values? Fed up with sipping liberal lattes and progressive cappuccinos? Introducing Founding Flavors from AP for Liberty Shop. Get your day started with Washington's Revolutionary Roast. As robust and principled as the man himself, this blend is the shot of energy heard round the world. Or maybe you want to taste the fervor of freedom with Adams's Patriotic Perk. It's as dynamic and balanced as the U.S. Constitution, sure to awaken your spirit of liberty. For the aficionados, we've got the Jeffersonian Java, a complex mix of flavors that speaks volumes about your refined tastes. And don't forget Betsy's Liberty Lullaby, our decaf option, crafted with the same care and dedication Betsy Ross put into our Star-Spangled Banner. This blend lets you enjoy the taste of freedom anytime without losing sleep. No woke beans here, folks, just pure patriotic
patriotic, pro-freedom flavors brewed with love for liberty. So why compromise your principles for a cup of coffee? Stand up for your values, perk up your patriotism, and start your day the American way. Get your founding flavors at apforlibertyshop.com.